Hi everybody, we're back today. Here is the lesson. We're going to talk about a few things today, and I've got James here on the telephone. So James, evening.
Evening. Start of a new day, really.
Well, I can't say hello, can I?
Say it.
Yeah,
say
so
hello,
basically,
then.
the other day we were talking, and I said, we'll go back to the bit when you were saying about Jesus being the Virgin and Virgo and all that, and then you were talking about allegory and the whole thing. That's what I want to talk a little bit about, and then you'll talk about other things. So what were you saying about all this, James?
Okay, well, there's a lot of speculation on the historical Jesus and sort of, he was born in September. Well, there's the astrological reference to Virgo, born of a virgin. And
yeah, any virgin, isn't it, really?
The story of this character replicates the movements of the sun. Does exactly the same things. It arises in Aries.
In astrology, you mean?
Yeah, It's one of the things this guidebook called the Bible actually shows. It's human physiology, it's your autobiography, it's everything. Even with just 66 books, it still works.
And then... carry on.
I was going to say, the problem is, you've got a lot of people, to give you an analogy, who've looked at a flight manual on how to fly a jumbo jet, and they're now instructing people on how to fly jumbo jets from just having a quick look at the at the handbook. So, of course, it always is going to end in disaster that way, because it's been taught for so long as a literal story
that everybody believes. If you're into the Bible, you're going to believe this was real.
Have you heard the expression of somebody shooting their mouth off?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anybody do that? Actually, literally do that?
I might do it occasionally. I might be doing it tomorrow when I go and see the council, but carry on. Yeah.
No, I mean literally shooting their mouth off. So get a gun and shoot your lower jaw out. Have you ever seen
James? No, I haven't.
Another one will be going out and painting the town red. I think there was a Clint Eastwood film.
Yeah, should we get a brush then? Let's go and paint the town red.
Well, this is the thing. It's not to be taken literally. It tells you in, I think it's Galatians chapter 4, verse 24. It says it's all allegory, the whole lot.
Say that again, James.
It is all allegory.
No, where did you find it? Say it again where you found it.
It's in Galatians chapter 4, verse 24.
There you go. Is that the New Testament or the Old Testament?
That's in the New Testament. So
why did they, after giving us this whole story, and then you get all the way to the new bit, and then the new chapters, and then basically it tells you it's allegory. What do you think that's going to make people think?
Well, it misleads people. It's a mixture of truth and lies. Everything is a 50-50.
Do you know what I think's missing on there? I mean, you did talk about the Southern Cross, so you can mention that bit in a minute. I remember that from the other day. But I'm surprised the eagles aren't on the front of this book. Because it sits on eagles in the church. And then I know that it's probably not real, it's all allegory, but if they put Julius Caesar in as Jesus Christ and all that, it starts looking a bit ridiculous, the Bible, to be honest.
Yeah, basically a lot of it is narcissistic, in which it's blaming the other, as it were.
Sorry about that.
You know, when you make a cup of tea, you put the boiling water in and say maybe a tea bag.
Yeah.
Which clearly, but then when you allow it to brew, it's no longer clear. So when it's a sort of a male-dominated patriarch system, that's why it is a Hebrew, because it's got a filter on it.
Oh, very good, James. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's giving.
So when did you? Because obviously Alan has told me loads of times in other hangouts that they are saying that the Bible is allegory. But now you've given the chapter it's in, I want everybody who believes in the Bible to go there and see the words. So what do you think? What did it make you feel like when you saw those words?
Well, it just confirmed it. It's like, well, the Bible is my first witness. It's a testimony and it's a witness. The same story is played out over and over again, and it's individual. Everybody plays all the characters. I mean, I came across people, and if I say who I am,
should we look that bit up, James? James, should we look up that bit and see if it does say that?
It definitely does, because
all right, but we'll just stop it 1 second. We may as well just look it up. 1 second. Right, so I've been over to the Bible. Over to the Galatians chapter 4, verse 24 to 26. It says, which things are an allegory? For those are the two covenants, the one from Mount Sinai, which genereth to bondage, which is agor, which is allegory, isn't it?
Well, Sinai, you've got Sin AI there.
Right, yeah, the Mount Sinai, yeah.
Ideally, you need a
So looking at that, so there they are. Which things are an allegory? So you reckon that's explaining that the Bible is all allegory?
Well, if you look at verse 23, it says, he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh. So that's talking about the birth from water, being born from a woman. That's the physical body. But he of the free woman was by promise. What you've got here, the Old Testament is the law, and the New Testament is the promise. It's a title of a book by Neville Goddard as well, The Law and the Promise. So the Old Testament is a foreshadowing, which is then played out in the New Testament. You've got two tests upon the mind, a testament.
Why would you get all the way to here, which is probably about well over halfway in the Bible, to be told it's allegory when that should be at the beginning?
Well, what you'll find is that the story's been split up, so you'll find references to things throughout all the different books of the Bible. The easiest way to for an explanation of that is just pull up Neville Goddard on YouTube, listen to any one of his lectures, and show how all the different verses all connect when they're talking about a specific thing.
It does say the two covenants, one at Mount Sinai and one at Agar. So is that what they're talking is allegory, or the whole Bible is allegory?
The whole lot is allegory. It's been anthropomorphized, so the states of mind, the states that you go through, have got character names. The places are, again, allegory, but they've been sort of interpreted as a physical place. But it's actually talking about what's going on inside the human body all the way through.
Is that like we did with, we were talking about him the other day, and then he's not there anymore.
Was it Steve?
No, he's in he's supposedly in South America, and he's got a animal place. Oh, anyway, he was. I forgot what he's called now. The Freak Show, Freak TV. Yeah, but his name.
Freak sensitive.
That's right, but his name's just gone out of my brain. But he's not around now. But we did hangouts of him saying that basically the Bible is all about you, and then the cross, which is the crucifixion, is where the shoulders and the head are, and it's how you go from the body into the brain, and that's what crucifixion means.
Yeah, the cross is your avatar, your human body. The man, the archetype man, Jesus, he is us, has got 5 wounds which represent the 5 senses used externally, where you've got the nail going through the ankle, both ankles. Then you've got the nails in the hands, so that's 4. And finally, the piercing of the heart. So there's your 5 senses. It's releasing the spirit from the human body, basically. You can also see in that as well, the man can only get to a certain height, and he can't get any higher. The cross is your body, and it's all the things you carry through life. Because it's all, the theme is all in spirit.
Do you know what it says? It's a bit weird, really. So 24 tells you that there's an allegory.
Always about go.
For these are 2 covenants, right? Then from this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which is now and is in bondage with the children. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
Jerusalem, which is above, that's the heavens, that's the mind.
Yeah.
Because it's the Kundalini rising. It's being heaved up or being pulled up magnetically.
Because we're frequency.
This is basically magnetism. Magnetism will only work with dielectric. The dielectric drives the magnetism. So there's a huge clue in there. The mind works on electrical circuits. But when we become neutral and we are an observer of our thoughts, it switches off that electrical circuit and allows the magnetism to work. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're in a male or a female body. You are all brides of God. It's expressed as basically the Father will pick. I can't remember the passage, but it says it's not earned. It's not from doing good deeds. You are picked. Basically, you are chosen, as it were.
Right.
It's like everything, and it's an expression used in this material world when...
Is that why some of us are awake, James, and a lot of us aren't?
Well, it's seek the keys of the kingdom, and all will be given to you. It's a very, very simple message, but it's always the last place you look. It's inside. But the expression that's often used externally is, well, have you tried talking to them? And this is exactly what it takes, an internal dialogue. And you basically say, I surrender myself, I surrender my lower conscious mind. This is where they get the whole idea of the 10% tithing, the giving 10% of your material worth to a church in some religions. But it's talking about the conscious mind handing over the power to and the control to the creator. I mean, how many times has there been talk of the search for the Holy Grail?
Do you know something? It's a bit, this is a bit weird, really, because I was watching, you know who Richard D. Hall is, don't you, James?
Richard D. Hall, I've heard the name.
Some of his conspiracy stuff, well, we'll call it that because I don't know what else to call it, but he's obviously different. He's found out about animals being killed. He doesn't believe in NASA, but he believes in space. He laughed at me when I told him I was a flatty and so forth. But there's a lot of things in his work I like, even if he's not quite as far along as we are. Anyway, what it was is that... oh, hang on a second. I've just got to stop because I can't... I've got two videos. One's on Unscrambled and one is on Sun and Moon. They're not out yet. There are these two forensic historians. They've been doing research from they've just been doing masses of research. They go back to the fact that there are two Arthurs, not one. And basically, what this guy says at the beginning of one of the videos, I think it might be Unscrambled one. I think it's the Unscrambled one. But what he said was, the first crucifixions happened here. Christianity came from the UK and went to Rome. So Jerusalem is here. We are Jerusalem, England.
Well, is that not what William Blake said in the famous song Jerusalem? Until we have built Jerusalem on England's green.
What I'll do is, James, we're going to stop the video now.
What's the reason why this research is so dangerous and being obfuscated by certain parties?
Religion comes into it, obviously. Unfortunately, we try to dodge it for years, but you can't.
Right.
Christianity arrived in Britain in 35 AD. The crucifixion apparently took place in 33 AD. This is well attested. Nennius records it. He died. He's a great historian in 822. Gildas says it. He died in the 6th century. The Cardinal Baronius was the great Catholic Church historian of the early 16th century, and Cardinal Alford, the real name's Griffiths. They both said it, and it's accepted by the Catholic Church. But they don't say it very often. They don't say it very loudly. But Christianity began in Britain. Holy Family arrived in Western Britain. These are the subject of Poussin paintings that are such a mystery.
Basically, my collaboration began in 1976 when I was very young. Alan's been with...
Yeah, so there you go, James. He says Christianity started in the UK.
Yeah, but it goes back even further.
It would kind of make sense, though, wouldn't it? Because we've got the Knight Templar in Scotland who married an Egyptian. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
You're looking at the overlay outplays. It starts further back.
Right, so we've got Europe up now. We've got Europe up, so carry on.
Right, now you have to consider why even the Vatican has got a telescope, and what are they looking for?
Don't know, James.
Interestingly, it's in a place called the Phoenix.
Oh my God, really?
Right. There was a huge battle because it was sacred burial grounds, and of course the Vatican won because they can throw more money at this. And of course the telescope is called Lucifer.
Blah.
Right. The reason that they have a telescope is twofold. It references in the Bible again, let thine eye be singular. That's on the internal. It's talking about the mind's eye, seeing things through the mind's eye, basically. Now, the world of Genesis in the Old Testament, the pre-flood world, was totally different from today. As it says in the creation story of Genesis, it says about going out and go forth and multiply and replenish the earth. So it shows that there was already a reset. It was a faceless void. So the Elohim have come along and created man, as it were. Now, you've got 1,656 years before the Great Deluge. In that time, you had a vapor canopy. So basically, you've got a huge magnifying glass. So everything in the sky would be a lot clearer than today. You'd be able to see these things. This is why you've got ancient tribes can see Sirius B that you can't see with the naked eye, because they could clearly see it. So we're in the Americas. Now, we're in the Technolithic era. The people of of that time, our ancestors knew what was going to happen. They were warned about this. This is what Noah is all about, because he knew. He's a Noah. He's the first shipbuilder. Now, if you know that you're going to take the full brunt and the full impact of this devastation, but you are told, if you cross the Atlantic, I promise you there is more land. There's your promised land. Now, if you look at Finland, put in, say, Finland postage stamp, you'll see in Finnish it is SUOMI.
Wait, let me put it in then. Let me just, 1 second, let me just put that in. We'll just stop the video for a second. Right, so we've got the postage stamps up and it says Suomi, Finland.
Yeah, right. Now, if you look at, compare with the other two Scandinavian countries, Norway on their stamps is NORGE, Norg. Sweden is SVERIGE. Finland is SU, is nothing even close to the English word. But what it is close to is the first recorded civilization, which is Sumer. What you've got, and they're quite correct, it started in Europe because Europe was the promised land from when your homeland is devastated. They came in ships, not spaceships. They came in ships across the water.
On this stamp here, there's a ship on the buildings.
That's where our ancestors came from. All the stories of Babylon, Assyria, Sumer, Phoenicia, Babylon, it's consistent. Benevolent, white, Caucasian, bearded men who are benevolent. They're teaching the local
Yeah, and they weren't blonde either.
They were.
They were. Well, when I could see photographs in the 1800s, everybody was dark-skinned, dark-haired and dark eyes. And then about 1920s, the blondes started coming. And now you associate Holland, Denmark and Sweden and places like that with blonde hair.
Yes, Scandinavia, Denmark, the tribe of Dan.
Right.
These people are the Anuna, or also known as the Anunnaki.
Wait a minute. We're looking at Finland. So who are you talking about? The Danish now?
Well, that whole area, that whole Scandinavian area, takes its name from tribe of Dan. That's why it's Denmark.
But the rest aren't called Denmark, are they?
No, it's Scandinavia.
Oh, okay. Right, okay.
Because don't forget, this has all been blurred and split into nations on purpose to create disunity. It's always divide and conquer.
It is really strange, though. There are a lot of countries, like you've got England, Finland, Greenland.
Yep.
Can't think of any more at the moment. So there's a few that are there. We've got land on it. When we don't have that much land. But anyway, carry on.
So yeah, we're in a world which is very different from today. It shows you in the creation story. It says the evening and the morning was the first day, and the second day, and so on. So basically, you're looking at like 6 o'clock in the evening is the start of the day. But when we had the vapor canopy, there was no sun. You couldn't see it. It was a purple sky. The waters were held up, I suppose, magnetically. I mean, it'd be the salt content in it. It conducts. That vapor canopy collapsed 1,656 years later.
Maybe that's what caused the mud flood.
That also references the base pairs of the building blocks of DNA, which is 10, 6, 5, and 6, which is the 10th and the 6th and the 5th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is Yahud Vav Hud, Yehovah, which is basically what we are. We are Jehovah Witnesses. You see how they've muddled all these words?
Right.
because this is the same authors that are behind all the things today are the same authors that have given you the modern day Bible in its many, many versions. It's through a Hebraic filter. It tells you in there that Abraham was an Amorite. Straight away I see in that you've got the word amor. So they are of love. And they're benevolent. Same as the story of Quetzalcoatl giving out gifts to the local people. Teaching them agriculture, teaching them forms of writing. All the things we've got today all came from these benevolent, from our ancestors, basically. And of course, the way the things have been manipulated and twisted by a very tiny fraction that decided to get greedy, they've done the narcissistic thing, and they've adopted their opposition's terms and applied it to themselves. So, for example, where we get the word Elohim, it's from El. Now, if you prefix El with Jew, a jewel, that's your third eye. All Jew means is you are in service of the Creator. It's not a specific group of people like that, like the way it's implied, that are better than everybody else at all. So Abraham was an Amorite. They're basically modern day Caucasians. Now, to this real history, it's had a overlay of allegory and spiritual truth. So now you've got Moses, and the serpent must be lifted up on the staff. You'll see it on the side of ambulances. You'll see it on all medical things. Moses is a fictional character. It is within us. It's not a person at all. It's what's going on inside us when we go through this spiritual awakening. So raising of the spirit, it's the same. It's a foreshadowing. It's the Jesus and the Christ, the resurrection from the cross, which is the body. It's exactly the same thing. It's just
so basically, all
very...
along, it's the journey to yourself, and you need to know who you are as a person.
Yeah, it's all about going within it. I have had this proven to me, and I can give you a testimony. It is 100% true. You come to this world knowing more than anything you'll ever learn afterwards. Because I have very, very clear memories now of the emotional side of a baptism. And I'm talking when this body is about 3 weeks old, roughly. And I knew instinctively that priest was false. It felt like my soul was being sold. I was being betrayed by these two characters that I'm relying on for my food, for my clothing, for everything. And they've basically given me away. But forgive them, for they know not what they do. I don't hold any grudges, but it has unlocked within me. It's like, now I can see how many things are, because I wasn't even aware how deep some of this programming goes and where it starts. But it's finding that inner child. Now,
One second, James. One second. Yes, what I say to everybody though, James, is you've got to go in yourself, and some of the history. So you're remembering things that happened in another life, but whatever's happened to you in this life when you're younger probably wasn't very good either. You've got to go and face that. You've got to go and pick up your child, your baby, your infant, your adolescent, your teenager, your adult. You've got to start again, but with a different head on. Like now you're responsible for yourself. Is that what they really meant with all this, James? So that you are responsible for yourself? Or is it just to lead you into something else that you don't want to be in? Which is it a good thing or not so good thing, though?
The way it is told today is very misleading, but you cannot have a lie without a foundation of truth. You cannot build a lie unless there's something to build it upon. So, whatever it's built on has to be the foundation. I'm just trying to think how to explain this. Yeah, so you've basically got a trinity here. First off is the idea. I wonder what that would be like. Now you start imagining it and you get the concept of the thing. Then it requires that leap of faith. Almost like, now don't try this, take this literally and try this in the physical sense. Metaphorically, in the mind, you have to leap off a cliff and know that you are going to be caught and you are going to be saved. You're not going to come to any harm. You're not going to end up as a starfish of a blood shape splat on the ground. This is the spirit we're talking about, which is air, not a solid physical body. The body is the embodiment.
Well, there's two things, I find quite incredible. So we always talk about this world, how diseased it is, but we drink the water and breathe its air. It goes through our body and out. Both those things. I know the food does, but I'm just saying all the time you're breathing in the air, you're drinking drinks, water's going in.
Yeah. You need the water.
I know food goes in as well, but you're more breathing than eating. All that air is always going through your lungs and your body.
Yeah, and then you've got the vitamin D from the sun as well.
Yeah, if you see it, which we've done quite well this year, but yeah, if you see it. Anyway, so, I've got the yin yang up, so you're leading into yin yang.
Yeah, so first thing to notice about that, I mean, I'm going to reference here, the world is ruled by signs and symbols. So you've got a symbol that's in front of you. You'll notice it's a circle or an O. That's telling you it's organic. So it's talking about the physical within the physical body. What separates the black and the white is basically the letter S, which is spirit. Now the two dots are your eyes, your sun eye and your moon eye. You'll notice in Hollywood and all the celebrities, all this black eye business. That's your moon eye. The right eye, I believe, I hope I've got this right way around. The right eye is the sun eye. Your right brain is the subconscious, and the left side is the conscious, that operates in this external world. And we're in a realm where you have contrast. That's why you've shown the white and the black. But of course, to see the dark, you've got that little bit of light. See the white,
do you know what, James? There's a little diagram up here. It's not quite the same as you, but it goes, there's a black circle, a white, whatever you call those things with the eye, a black one, and then of course both of them together. But there's two circles. There's a white one and a black one.
Yeah. That's the two eyes, your sun eye.
Hang on, I'll just show the picture on here so that they see it. This is where I saw it, just there. Here, see, so there's two. Anyway, carry on, James.
So we're on basically, was it day 4 of creation? You're given a light for the day and a light for the night. This is the two hemispheres of the brain. And it also replicates the waking and sleeping hours in this life to death experience. That's really what it's showing you. And it's walking that path, that very thin line that you can't tell if it's a white line or a black line. It's the balance and seeing both sides. I should imagine there is a lot of people that were perplexed by the sudden increase in the amount of perspex that was suddenly appeared on every shop counter, almost overnight.
Mm.
That's another system hint, a very twisted way of showing it, but it's giving you a huge clue. It was 2020, which means clear vision. but they're not giving you a clear vision. You're getting a back reflection of these things. It's not that easy to see through it. But it is easy to see through it when you see what they're really showing.
I think it's easier to see through things and understand it more when you've decided to go beyond yourself, wake up, realise things were different. It doesn't mean you can punish everybody that's done it or whatever, but it's how you treat yourself and move on. Once you do all that, you see these things differently as well. When you're shut off, no, that's the way it is. The television's telling the truth and all that. You're shut off. You need to grow every day. If you're not growing, you're dead then. That's what happens. You need to grow every day. But when you do, you see things differently. When you're awake and, that's one thing we've tried as a channel. I'm not saying I believe in absolutely every single thing a person talks about, but you come on my channel and everybody is given a chance to talk about what is most important to them. So I'm open, and you have to remain open. And a lot of people are closed off, aren't they, James?
Yeah, I mean, I would go with what Neville Goddard says on this. He says, test it for yourself and see if it works. You're not out to prove anything to anybody else.
Now, when you've woken up and you're a bit more sensitive to the whole of everything, and it is a bit of a shock because then you realise they've totally lied to you, everything's a lie, etc., and you're like, holy moly. And then you start seeing your family, and then they're all weird and horrible and just ugly, and and they are, and they don't treat you very nicely, and they're always going, you, it's you. When actually, they're not prepared to look at themselves. I mean, you actually can learn a lot about people. They're not open, they're not looking at themselves, they don't have empathy. You can see it in people when you're all awake.
Well, I'll give you a little revelation, shall I?
But you know what? Listen, very quickly before you do that. I am a woman, but I had to come to terms with the little man in me. And you're a man, and men should come to terms with the little woman in them. It comes up at times, just things that are more feminine. You should come to terms with it. I mean, I've had to be a mum and a dad. I've had to face that part, the other side, be on my own, pay all the bills, not have a partner to help me. So I've had to face those things in myself, those masculine things. And that's something else. And if you're afraid to do it, it means you're not open. We've all got this in us.
Yeah. The nurturing and the creative is the divine feminine within all of us.
Yeah.
It's been twisted, of course, by the patriarch system that women stay at home, but naturally women are the homemakers. Your body is your home in which your true essence, your spirit is housed. That is your host.
You've hit it on the spot, though, because you have to be at home in yourself. Otherwise, it's dis-ease. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. And it doesn't mean everything's perfect. It doesn't mean, waking up has been one of the most greatest things in my life, but the history and everything goes on and on and on and on and on, and now it's just so big and you're like in a matrix of that. But it's better to be, I just meet my family and my sons and I'm just horrified at who these people are. They're so selfish. They don't think anybody else exists but them. It's always your fault, and it goes on like that. Well, I'm open. You have to be open. And that's a part of the knowing who you are as a person, because once you know who you are and you've sorted all that out, you can be open. If you haven't sorted out who you are and you don't know what you want, you won't be open. Sorry, James, I've just put that bit in there, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, it is true, though, isn't it, James? I mean, how many people have, just for waking up? I mean, maybe, I must admit, if I talk to my mum, it wouldn't matter if I talk about pumping the tyre up, a boyfriend, the sky, flat earth. For her, it's all the same thing. She's just, I'm not talking about that today. She just hears it. She thinks I'm talking about one thing all the time. That's what they do to you. They categorise you.
Well, look at what is being shown. All right? When you talk about family in this physical reality, the connection is avatar to avatar. the organic part. So it's only the host bodies. Spiritually, we're all connected anyway.
I did have something good the other day, James. I'm butting in. I'm really sorry because you're trying to explain something. But I was in the garage the other day, and this guy was there, and he said, "I am not spent," because basically the garage had stuck on and say an extra £5 for the beers. He said, "I'm not paying that," and it just so happened that I paid for my petrol, and we just walked out together. And he was going preposterous like I do, you know. I'm not paying that. And then I said, "Well, you do realise that we're in the Holy Roman Empire, or Egyptian thing." And I said, "Did you know that?" Because, you know, that usually startles people when I say that. And he said, "Yeah, I do. I'm with you on that one." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm really pleased I stopped to talk to you." I said, "So you know it's all a lie?" He said, "Yes, I do." I thought, yes, that's all we can do is just, you know, hopefully, I think there's a lot more awake people than we think they are. They're just quiet about it.
Yeah.
Carry on, James.
Oh, yeah.
I've butted in now. Carry on.
Well, as Ken Wheeler says, you cannot have a debate with anybody, and you've got a point of reference. Their point of reference is completely different. So then, but it's beautiful because what it is showing, you've got a situation now where a lot of people can't hear what you're saying.
They just can't hear it. To them, it's just like, oh God, she's talking again.
Hold on. Now, if we just crank that frequency up a bit, we're going to ghost out of this reality. This is what has been shown in especially in North America. Whole cities, whole civilizations just suddenly gone as if they'd been beamed off the earth. They haven't been beamed anywhere. They're on a different frequency. They're still here. Just watch the way cats and dogs and watch things that human eyes cannot see. They've got a very different frequency because they're on 4 legs.
Well, do you know something, James? We've done this one in the footage, especially the Victorian one. I showed you them. It almost looks like they're filming through a glass thing, and it's reflecting them. So they're filming it through another piece of glass, and they're being like. It's almost like it's an obelisk film. And they're capturing the shadows of themselves. I've shown you those. I can't work that out, what that is. I've seen it loads of times. I showed a video when this guy's walking and the same thing happens. It's like someone in the background bends down and picks a piece of paper up. But they're being reflected into the footage somehow. Ridiculous. Is this why when the cameras, they look at them like, what the hell is that? Because they can see them at that point, which we can't now. Look, it's an alien. What is it? The faces on the Victorian people are like, and they're always higher than them. Have you noticed that? They're never at the same level. They're always looking down at them a bit. What is it they got? A great big camera or something?
Psychological warfare on the subconscious, basically.
That's if those films are real as well, because all I see, I did one with Laurel and Hardy. They're all just films upon films upon films. But sorry, I'm digressing. Carry on, James.
It doesn't matter whether it's real or not. It's what are they showing us here? They're looking down upon us.
Always,
they're recording us, and
are looking slightly down. You know, you're at the head stage of the adults.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. You're just not going to have that. Not every time you use a camera.
It's big business data collection today. They were recording back then, if you think about it. They were recording people.
Everything they did then, they're doing today. Nothing's changed.
Yes. Same authors using the same scripts.
With that double bloody eagle.
This plays out over and over again. Now, why is it an eagle? Because the symbol is a white dove. An eagle is something very, very different.
Because that Roman Egyptian thing has eagles and double eagles, and I think that's the most saddest thing, because it's really weird when you even realise America's got an eagle and they're so proud of their eagle, and all they're following is the Roman Egyptian thing, and they don't realise. And we've been that bit's sort of been. They're telling us in history these things were here, and there's the eagles, but they're not admitting that we're still in it today.
They're revealing their intentions. Look at what an eagle does. It's a bird, so it's therefore talking about something in spirit. It comes down and grabs and gets its claws in. It steals. It's not a gentle white dove. It's the opposite. They're telling you exactly what they're
Well,
doing.
I did
They
hear
are
in
pirates.
history that there was this point of time where there was no wars. It was about 1,000 years and we lived in peace, and then this lot took over. But definitely,
pre-flood world.
because Holland used to run everything, and they were the ones with the big buildings, the monies, the ships. And then suddenly, England did. And people don't realise they still do. England runs everything. UK. Look at your flags. It's in your flags. Crisscrosses, crosses, lines, whatever it is, all part of that Union Jack. There's hardly any. There's a few flags that don't have crisscrosses on them and just have animals or something. But most of the flags, 95% of the flags, are going to have crosses, crisscrosses, lines, triangles. It's all part of the Union Jack.
It's showing you that we've been double-crossed.
Yeah.
Good, isn't it?
No, James. I mean, even though I feel that we're on some kind of like star map, you know, when Jim Dinninger said that the ships were getting stuck in this, what they said, well, he's seeing the ships that look like they're stuck in Antarctica, but they're going to other islands. That kind of made sense as well. That there's, you know, in that Chinese or map they showed us with the other islands going round. So it could be that that's where we actually came from, was these other places.
Well, we came from the Americas. We're descendants of people from the Americas.
Well,
basically.
the Indians are Eskimos. There's lots of them in Russia and other places around these places. There are more of them. That's what the Indians were. They were Eskimos originally.
We were created by the Anunnaki, as they're known, but they're actually the Anuna.
But it's really strange that they just show us that they've got like they've got like sacks as clothes, and yeah, that some of the buildings still might be wonderful, but everybody's like very prehistoric looking, and it couldn't have been like that. We were far more advanced, and we're less advanced now, pretending that we're getting advanced. They had, you know, where do you think telephones come from? It wasn't this lot, and neither was televisions. This is old technology that they've incorporated, because don't forget they've got rid of the other tech. They've got rid of the other world, haven't they?
Well, we had a Technolithic age. This is where it all came from. This is the Anuna. That's our ancestors.
I don't even know why we're here anymore, James. I mean, what was it? Just to have some children, grow a few years older and die? Wow, thanks a lot for bringing me here then. Yeah, I know it's a lesson place. I know that, you know, you're learning as you go along and that, but it just seems like, I don't know, when you think about it, we're not even here for very long.
We're not even here at all.
That makes sense. What? The other thing I tried to say to Mickey the other day was, are we already dead?
Yes and no.
You know, these films that you watch, like I watched one where this guy had been a soldier, and really, in real life, he didn't really have much of a body left. He was wired up, but his brain worked and he could talk. And then they would constantly put him in this sort of thing where he's got to save this woman, but he doesn't, so she gets blown up, and he has to keep doing it to save her life. But at the end of it, he just says, please, I don't want to live anymore. I want to die. I want to go. And is that what they've done? We're all in suspension, really, somewhere else, and our brains. This is like a dream, and we're here. Yeah, I just wondered it. You know, we all wonder these things, don't we?
Well, the Matrix film was pretty close to the truth, actually. You're plugged in through your nervous system.
Yeah, except he can leave and come back, whereas if we do that, we die. Can't just keep coming back and going. Once we're here, we're here. And do you know something, James? Do you know what I found really weird? I've been watching a couple of, this bit when you said, we die to be born. When you're pregnant to being born, your whole environment changes. And they just came up. These couple of babies were born in the sack. They look really weird. They look like flat packed almost. Like what they're in is almost, it's almost a flat pack thing. They're in it and it's just, and then it bursts and a bit of that goes into them and the baby is almost choking to death from actually swallowing a bit of the fluid. And neither one went, oh, put the baby forward, quick, pat it, get that stuff out of his mouth. And the baby's like, because now it's trying to breathe and got stuff in its throat, which it didn't have before.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't using its nose to breathe before. It was using the umbilical cord to live.
Yeah, everything goes in through the umbilical cord up to that point.
Yeah, and then it's got to breathe. So it goes from being like like an amphibian, but you're attached to someone else and you're in the dark, to breathing, and then light and it's cold. Mickey says he remembers it being born almost. He just remembers it was all cold.
Yeah. Well, if you compare a fetus of a reptile, of a fish, of an animal or a human, and they all look identical up to a certain point.
Yeah, that is the most weirdest thing because, when you used to look at it, you think, oh, look, you can even see that we were dinosaurs when your mum was pregnant with you because it comes up like that. But there is some kind of other animal you look like before you turn into a human.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, even pregnancy, it's just an amazing thing, the whole thing. Even like being born is the most dangerous journey in your life you'll ever take.
Pretty much. They're very careful to not show them if you search on one of the major search engines, but if you get to see an ultrasound 3D of say a 3 or 4 month old fetus, just look at the proportions of the head and the body and the eyes, and then compare it with what
it's the yin and yang, isn't it? It's more like that. It starts off with a big head and its body's all small, like the yin and yang,
like the greys as well. These aliens, they always put this picture of aliens up, UFOs and things.
They could even use the elongated headed people for aliens because they were only 5 foot, so they weren't tiddy, but they were smaller than us. They could have made them into aliens. What they're using as aliens today, but really they were the elongated headed people they're talking about. But Karen, James.
Yeah, they would be a sort of part of the experiment. This is just like a experimental zone, really. It's a place for testing things out, a diagnostic zone. But of course, if you're agnostic, you'll end up coming back again. But there is only one. There's only one character playing every part. It tells you in Genesis that basically the creator fell asleep in the dream and was carried out into Egypt. He was buried in Golgotha, which is the skull. Egypt is the material world, everything external to you.
There you go. That's why it's Roman Egyptian. It's really strange when we listen to that video and he's saying that Christianity started in the UK and they took it to Italy.
Well, if you think about it, even if you take it as historically 2,000 or so years ago, you really think that people knew the year as 1 BC or say, oh look,
Jesus
AD?
Was born. It's 1, it's 0. Oh, now he's 33 and being crucified. It's the year 33. No. No.
Another image you could pull up here would be the image of the Turin Shroud.
Oh, you want me to put that up, James?
Yeah, please, yeah.
All right, 1 second.
If you can get,
1 second.
If you can get a clear shot of...
What is it called again?
The Turin Shroud. Turin.
What was it again?
Turin.
All right, I spelled it wrong. Hang on.
You don't want to suit Turin.
Turin.
R-I. The place in Italy,
Yeah, got it.
I believe.
The Turin Shroud. Right, there we go.
Have you got one? A picture there that's
Oh, well, I didn't turn the recorder off, so we'll just leave that on, James. There we are. Which one do you want?
Can you find an image that sort of shows the face relatively clearly?
I've got one here. Right, go on then.
Have you got it on the screen?
You want me to blow it? Right, James.
Right, now, according to the story, this Jesus character was 33 years old, was he not?
Yeah, he looks about 45, 50 in that one. 45?
That was going to be my next question. Would you say, in your opinion, that looks to be someone who's about 33 years old?
No, he looks about 40 or 50 to 50.
Yeah, right, so what can we take from that image?
And, oh, I don't know what that beeping is, but he looks Scottish or something.
In some pictures, you can see it's almost like a photographic image because it has even got the light in the pupils of the eyes. The eye colour.
Oh, no, his eyes are closed.
Sorry?
His eyes are closed in all the pictures. Oh, let me find
That's
another.
funny because
In this one, the Shroud of Turin is definitely a hoax. That's what that one says. 1 second. Right, James, we've got one where he could have his eyes open here. It looks like he looks like an English soldier. You know, like a knight.
Right. Now, in a male body, if you didn't go to a barber shop, how would most men look?
Have really, really long hair.
In a beard, yeah?
Yeah. Well, he's got a beard.
Yeah.
But he's been kept,
Yes,
hasn't he?
quite-
He's got a short beard. It's shorter than yours.
Remember, this is the system showing you a truth. What you've got there is an impression on a material background. We are in a material world. You've got an archetype figure that represents everybody. Doesn't matter who it is and when it was done or anything like that. It's just purely what you can take from this. What is
Why does he
missing
have
from
his
it?
eyes open, James?
Hold on. What is missing from it? It's not animated. It has no life in it. But if you breathe life into that character, you become like I am. See, this is history repeating itself again because I am the Son of Man. There's a revelation for you. And my Father and I are one.
And also, it looks like he's got, say, some jewel put on the top of his head. It's like, I don't know. It looks like it could have been a jewel. It's like he's got like a crown almost.
Well, it's supposed to be the crown of thorns,
Really?
which is a corona.
Right. And then he's got two lines down in which there's pictures here where they've taken what these things mean. These things that like go down and they sort of match each other. I find that really weird. But in there, it looks like he is a knight and he's got a knight suit on.
We don't go too deep into it because it's not. It doesn't. It's only what the message of the image is showing. This is the beauty of this simulacrum. It will give you all the answers.
I've got a better one. Hang on, Jane. So I just wanted to put this picture on because obviously there are these two things. They're like pillars, they are. They could be the pillars of the earth. It's got two there and two there.
Pillars.
Yeah, they're like four pillars. There's two by his legs and two...
Yeah.
He still looks like to me like a knight. He is dressed up in armour or something.
See, the female archetype is the Mary with the long hair, because women don't grow beards, you see. But pretty much, you look at all these characters, Zeus, Odin, whatever, they're all men with beards.
I think this one is the back of him. It looks like he's got his hair up in a bun, and a bit of it goes down his back, but you can't tell. It's got, yeah, some kind of crown or something. You know, it's most bizarre. I've never really looked at this. Well, I have looked at it, but so long ago, and you know.
It certainly doesn't look like someone who's been tortured and whipped. It looks quite peaceful and content.
Yeah, and on the back one, it is like a rod going down his back or something there. Some kind of rod or something there. But that's the back of him. And it looks like he's put in something. This thing he's in between this thing.
Well, the story goes that it would have been laid under him and then over the top. And if you look, you haven't got a very clear definition at the edges. It's like a sheet that's been placed over. It's almost like a 3D photograph imprinted or burnt into that linen. It certainly doesn't look to be a man of 33, because what that's actually referencing is your 33 vertebrae in your spine. Jacob the Dreamer goes up to Pineal and sees God.
Yeah, he looks like he's about 45, 50.
Which is a 9, which is completion. Completion of man. The whole object of this game is God fell asleep in the dream. That's why it's Awake, O Sleeper. God can only wake up through the power and wisdom of the Son, the Christ. That's the solar plexus, the gut feeling. But of course, there has to be a fall down to the root chakra. That's your foundation stone. That's your 5 fused vertebrae. That's the foundation stone on which you build. Then the energy rises up to the heavens.
You know what? If they found this and this belonged to him, where's his body?
Well, some say it's sort of like teleported out through the fabric, as it were.
Well, you wouldn't have got a good picture like that then, would you?
We're basically like Mario Brothers in a computer game, anyway. None of this is actually real. This is just the game.
To be honest, the way they've kind of wanted it is, there's a picture. I'm just going to go over here, right? He's got his eyes open. Let's have a look. Like here. He's got his eyes open. What? Yeah. Like he's still commanding from underneath the sheet?
Oh, I don't know whether he's commanding.
It looks like he's standing there holding 2 things in his hands. And then he's got his eyes open looking at you as if he's still commanding.
They're very knowing looking eyes.
Some of them show it with his eyes closed as well.
Yeah, they would.
I mean, he could be almost 60, that person. I mean, that's probably Moses then.
Moses is a fictional character that's never real.
Oh.
It's more likely to be Abraham or Noah.
Noah, yeah. I said a giant, didn't I? In a way, even though you can't tell, just looking at this, he looks like a 7-foot person.
Well,
that's why he's got such a fun, James. That's why he's got such a funny face.
Hold on. The measurements of the shroud, it sort of calculates he's about 6 foot, 6'2".
Right, it's not terribly high then, is it?
No, but the giants are when we had a very different atmosphere, when we had this vapor canopy, when the air was sort of radioactive with oxygen, as it were, and things grow at a fantastic, phenomenal rate. Even just before the photographic age and the early black and white photos, just look at when trees are felled, the sheer size of the girth of the trunk, and they're talking of heights of 400 and 500 foot.
Can I ask you something else as well? Like, if this is supposed to be a shroud, why do we see such a perfect person underneath? Surely as time went on, he'd have sagged and his skin and slippage and the whole thing. It wouldn't have, the actual overall thing over time wouldn't have looked that good. It'd have been all shriveled up. But that's not what you see.
Because it is all shrouded in my story.
Yeah, of course, James. It's just another story.
Here we go again. History repeating itself. Do you not realise that you are gods? Psalm 82.
Yes.
This is all of us. He is us. Jesus, he is us. The J is like a hook.
Yeah, you know, I told you this before. In a book called The Winds of Change, it was a medium's book. What the medium said is, if Jesus had come, he was coming to teach us to be more like him. Of course, in churches, you can't touch him at all. We can never get there. If you go to the church, you'll never get to be anything like Jesus because you're not allowed to think that way in a church.
Well, who was the first blasphemer?
Well, Judas was for him. I don't know.
Well, this Jesus character was the first blasphemer.
Ah, what, to religion that was already here, you mean, or whatever was here?
Well,
yeah, because really, Christianity is quite a modern religion, considering how old, say, if you were a Muslim or something like that.
Well, it's taken a bit from this and a bit from that and a bit from that and a bit from something else and fused it all together, made a conflation out of it.
I think I think it's terrible because they've even changed the countries. Because if you listen to the video we played at the beginning about the forensic historians, they're saying it happened here and the person was crucified here.
Well, it's because we're in a duality. You've got a natural change with seasons, so it's constantly changing. So the materialist world has given you constant change, and it's constantly changing and revising and rewriting history, rewriting biblical texts. This is why you have so many different versions of the Bible. There is no the Bible. There's a King James, there's a new revised, and whatever else.
But they're always revising it to fit in with the people of the day.
Yeah, changing it to suit the political whims of interpretation. As Alan Watts explains it, when they put the Son of Man, it's in italics because it's an interpolation. It should say a Son of Man. It's referring to all of us. It's an archetype.
I know, but that's pretty. Say it is that way round when it's about you being. It's pretty damn cruel to turn around and tell you could never do it, never be it. You're always a sinner. The whole thing, how ridiculous is that? I don't think we came here to be sinners. I think if you are authentic to start with, which most of that gets sort of taken out of you with your corrupt parents and stuff like that, but if you're authentic, you already know, like, the rules, the 10 Commandments, they're like in you. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, whatever it is. Thou shalt not kill. You already know these things.
Yeah, definitely. It's hammered out of us and then sort of...
I think they're television lies. We're not killing everybody. Even though there are many narcissists, the narcissists aren't violent, thank God. Most of them. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. But what a lie to tell us. Instead of saying you are achieving the Jesus-like consciousness, no, you can never get there. And pay your taxes.
It depends, really. I mean, I can say I am, and I am anything, whatever you see me as. So I can. To one person, I'm their worst nightmare. To another person, I'm a blasphemer. To another person, I'm the best thing.
How many people have I called you, James? So Jesus, Merlin, and what's the other one from the film?
Pretty Gandalf, but pretty much any character with long hair and nothing called. But I'm not emulating anybody as such. So I've just let my hair grow, and that's how it naturally grows, how it would with any man. It's so...
Yeah, but a lot of people don't let their hair grow like yours. Can I just say we've probably been going for nearly an hour and a half now. So you've actually shocked me a bit. I wasn't expecting to see Jesus looking a bit giant-like and I hadn't taken any notice of the fact he looks like 20. I mean, there's no way that man's 33. He could be 60, James.
Yeah.
He's an older man. That is not a man of 33.
No, 33 is referencing your 33 vertebrae in your spine. That's what 33
and
means.
This is what's so annoying, because there are 69 books that aren't in the Bible, and they will tell you the truth about why they've just taken all that bit out and made you believe that what you've got is real, when 69 books aren't in there, and it's all allegory, and it's a self-help book. Well, it could be. It's about yourself. They haven't even explained that. It's got to be about Jesus, but it isn't. It's about you. You've got to go through your head. It's not about Jesus. He's just a story. It's you.
Yeah.
There was no J in those days, so he wasn't Jesus.
The J is an alphabetic symbol. It's a hook. It's hooking you to something. That's what it means.
Yeah, I've got a little book of Ascension up there, and in it says we've got stuck on Jesus when we need to move on now.
I think it's Psalm 82, verse 5 or 6. It says, you are princes, but you will die as men. And when it says men, it's talking about male and female. It's just a generic man.
Do you know what it almost looks like as well? Even though this thing round him is sort of, it looks like it could be between, there's two more of them. There's two underneath and he's in the middle, and it's this looks like rods, even though they're not going to say they are. In this picture, it just looks like he's got great big jewels with him. It could be jewels, like they're like sceptres.
It's your sun pillar and your moon pillar. It's what's shown you in Freemasonry on the second floor. It's the two pillars.
They look very symmetrical and everything.
Yeah, it's shown in building as those two outer smaller archways, and then you've got the bigger central archway. You'll see that on pretty much every wall between the pillars. You'll have a main entrance, and you'll have like two smaller ones either side.
And I'm really shocked that he doesn't look like a man of 33. He looks like he's 45, 50, up, maybe even 60. You know, if you look good, some people look younger than they are. He could be 55, 60, that person. That is not a 33-year-old.
It's not referring to ages as such. It refers to your first Saturn return from whenever you're born, which is roughly around the age of 30. This is when Christ starts his ministry, till 33. It's those last three vertebrae of ascension up the spine. It also tells you that Sarah is 90 years old when she has a baby. Well, no 90-year-old woman is having a baby. It's your third Saturn return. Some people will get they will get it on their second Saturn return or their third Saturn return. Things come in threes always. It's on your birth chart. It takes 30 years for Saturn to do a rotation, or it's a 30-day month. These are all expressions of exactly the same thing. It's a process of the birth from above is a process that takes 3.5 years, or 1,260 days, because they measured things in days. It even describes the Creator as the Ancient of Days. So 1,260 days. So 1, 2, and 6 is 9. It's completion. If you look in the Bible and look at the numbers, there's a numeric code all the way through as well. You look at the things with. Do
you know what it kind of reminds me of a little bit? It's like almost having a stained glass window. And Miss Havisham, when she was looking at them, she was a bit shocked one day when she was looking at the window, and she's saying, "Look at it looks like a negative of a photograph in that stained glass window. Same sort of thing. It just looks weird. Look, and why would his body's gone, but he was wrapped in things. I just don't believe that. That looks like a suit.
Well, the story again is allegory. The body is put into a stone tomb. It's the skull. And then the stone is rolled back. It's talking about the third ventricle entranceway into the brain. Your 12 disciples are your 12 cranial nerves. Your 12 connection points from the brain into the physical body. That's all it's showing. Now, when it says about Christ comes back, the disciples are out on their boats fishing, and there's this figure on the shore who's saying, cast your nets on the right side. What that's actually saying is Christ is on firm ground. He's on a solid foundation. He's saying, go over to your subconscious. Cast your nets on the other side to your subconscious mind, where everything you see from when you come into this realm is recorded. It is all stored in the subconscious. But the thing is, it's firewalled off through the system.
I see what you mean as well. Like, if he was murdered, like, he would be in pain, and then his face would stay like that.
Well, we don't know.
And that person doesn't look like they've died. They look like they're alive.
They look quite contented and very peaceful.
But they look alive with the eyes open.
Well, the whole thing with the Jesus story is because humanity has evolved. At one time, it was a very complicated initiation process.
And if it's a real king, it's really somebody else. They know they've lied.
The old process of ascension and connection would be you'd be in a death state for 3 days. You needed a shaman with you to make sure the body was kept alive, as it were, because you consist of 4 bodies. You've got your physical body, and then it's actually on the outside, not on the inside. You've got the etheric body, then you've got your cosmic body, and then you've got your eye organisation that your individual awareness. You're an individualised version of the creator. I mean, even the Big Bang Theory comes out of nothing and explodes out. Well, that's what the creator has done. It's individualised into all these physical hosts, these avatars that we're in.
Okay, listen, James. We've been going for a little bit of time, right? And we can always come back and talk about this again. But for this hangout, is there any way, like from the beginning with the photographs we showed you, sum up then? Because we've got obviously this shroud up right now, this picture showing, and yeah, it's all allegory, isn't it?
Yeah, find the Christ within, really.
I think that's the saddest bit, that instead of everything being about you, they've turned it into somebody that we can never, in a church, ever match. I mean, if we ever tried to make our way towards the cross, they'd probably stop you. You know, you're not allowed to be on the same level as this person.
Alan Watts puts this across very well. He said, the first blasphemer got kicked upstairs. We cannot have democracy in heaven. So you're supposed to emulate something you can never be. So the whole thing is rigged. That's organised religion that has absolutely nothing to do with this spiritual chrism, Christos message. That is the manipulation. What they do in those churches is no different from what a drug pusher is doing, trying to get people hooked and addicted by fear.
But I did realise when I was looking things up, when Henry VIII, and he broke away, and then there was that John, whatever his name was, and he was a slightly different version of the Protestants, where he believed you were born in sin. But some of the others say, whether you're Catholic or whatever, there's loads of them. There's about 15, 20 of them. They all believe slightly differently. I hadn't realised that.
Well,
if you're an Anglican, and there's Methodist, they all believe slightly differently. But this one, it was in my video, the one with Henry VIII last week or the week before. That one believed you were in sin. You had to get out of sin. Whereas, say, the Catholics believe that you sin when you get here. All right, you see, it's all different. Anyway, carry on. It's weird how churches do that. They're all slightly different.
So the question is, what is sin? We have the power to create from our mind. This is what is being hidden from us. Right?
Most of sin is in their eyes. It's their laws.
Right. What sin is, it's spirit in. Anything you have a desire for.
Oh, I see. So it's the opposite. So sin is good.
Hold on. If you have a desire for something and you do not fulfill that wish, you do not see it through to the end, and you miss the mark, that is a sin. It's nothing to do with being good or bad. It's if you create a thought in your mind. Now, a lot of men.
Why is it, James? James, why is it? If we say anarchist, everybody's going, oh, no, anarchist. But an anarchist just means freedom fighter. Why is everything turned round so that you know, like, you get dragged into something, you don't even know what's going on, you believe all these things that aren't true?
Because we're in the realm of duality. This was created so well. I mean, if you think of it in terms of we come from a realm that is perfection, how are you going to know what evil is? How are you going to know what negative energies are?
The only other thing is to find people like you and be with them, which is why you're my friend, and I talk to certain people, because you just, you know, my family are like aliens. I've got lovely grandchildren, and they're just so, you know, it's been going on for a long time, but it's all my fault. I've never heard anything more ridiculous in my life.
That's avatar to avatar connection in this.
You know, I stood there and I thought, I'm going to tell my son, you need to look at yourself and work yourself out, and it's your problem. Right, you'll not see your granddaughter for another 10 years now. That's what they're like.
Well, unfortunately, only the sort of creator, to put this in the sort of biblical terms, the creator picks.
So what I've got to do is, oh gosh, you're the master. Okay, I'll do everything you want so I can spend a little time with my granddaughter. That's horrible. I never treated them like that.
Well, there is a Garden of Eden, yeah? Now, in a garden, the seeds that are going to grow are going to be the ones that are planted in the fertile soil, which is the open mind, that is open to receive what is called spiritual downloads.
It's not very often, though, James, when people take that course that they're on, that suddenly they go, hey, I've realised, I've woken up. I realise what you're saying now. You don't find any like that. That's like, there's either those that are going to wake up and the majority, well, more than half don't.
Well, most of them are like rabbits in headlights. They're worrying about, how am I going to pay the mortgage?
Shut up, James. I've been doing a bit of that today. Yeah, but you know, you live in this world, don't we? We can't get away while we're here. We're in their thing. It's all got bills in it. And it's you know, I have to work to pay my bills.
The system is all run as a busyness model. It's keeping you busy, and yet we're a human being. It's about being. As Ellen Watts describes
yeah. You know, this is I've made many. They keep you fearful of the past, because don't forget, there's wars and problems, and there's orphan children, and there's all these things in there. And then they're fearful of the future because it's got like Star Wars in it. And you think, oh my God! And then you can't concentrate on today because look at all the crap they're showing you on the television.
It's all about keeping you busy, so you're not being allowed time to sort of sit and process all these things, because it takes time to sort of just stop and think, hold on a minute.
You do lose a little bit when you have got kids, though, James, because at that point, little children need a lot of attention. So you do lose it a bit there. But if you started off like that, you wouldn't have lost it. You'd have just had to wait a bit to be able to use it properly again because you've got little children. You just hopefully give it to them and hopefully they're lovely. Well, I saw a lot of changes. I brought my children up differently and I'm just horrified. But they're free to be who they want to be. They're just...
That's their free will. That's the other thing with it.
I'm very glad that
choice.
Mickey's not like them. Mickey's a nice man.
You can't impose onto somebody's
No,
will.
that's right. I get on with my own
all.
life. And Mickey's a nice man. So thank you for that one, whoever that was. Also, James, when we're on this, our lives are a bit like the Adjustment Bureau. That film, that is just quite apt, that is.
Yeah. All the films are
Yeah,
showing
all of
you
them.
because it is a form of art. Therefore, it is creation, and it tells you, Our Father who art in heaven. Art is the creative mind, the imagination. Every artist, whether it be a musician, a poet, or whatever, or a painter, they are the medium of the creator. Whereas the artist may use brushes and canvas and oils, and that is their medium, as above, so below. So these physical avatars become the medium of the art spirit to talk through and express things. It is guiding humanity. Bohemian Rhapsody is a perfect example. I don't think, but Freddie Mercury. Mercury is the winged messenger. These things are put there on purpose. But it tells you, is this a real life? Is this just fantasy caught in a landslide, no escape from reality? You've got your mud flood reference right there. It's telling you, no escape from this reality. It's an enclosed system. Will you let me go? No, no, no. Bishmillah, we will not let you go. It tells you in that song. And another very powerful one, I think it's just Freddie Mercury rather than Queen, it's called, Is This the World We Created? That is so powerfully moving. But Genesis is another one. Welcome to the Home by the Sea. It's no accident there's a part 1 and 2 to that. It's an allegorical message. When I said to you earlier I saw a meteor, I'm talking about the Linkin Park album. Every song in that album is a dialogue going on within oneself. When Chester Bennington does that throat singing, that is the soul, your essence is screaming out. And then you've got the ego wanting to stay. It's a frightened child. It's frightened of taking that leap into the unknown. So the Turin Shroud, it's shown in that. You've got 2 component parts. Tur, so it's a ball. It's a tear. So you've got to tear through that veil. It's a door, and it's in. You're taking a tour within yourself. The whole universe within inside yourself. It's all just expressions of exactly the same thing from different perspectives. That's how I know who I am, because it tells me in the guidebook. My name forever is I am. I cannot point to anything externally and say I am. Everybody unknowingly says I am. If I was to say to you, what's your name? You'd say, I am Karen. You're telling me that you are God with an individualized personality called Karen, but you're still God. Amazing. There's your revelation. You are all God.
Thank you so much for that, James.
Who is God? It's you and you and you and you and you, Anunnaki, Anuna. It's interesting, actually, in Scotland, because of the dialect. When they say in, it sounds very much like an. Now, an, obviously Anu, an becomes on. Like when you switch a light on. It was a name of a city, which was changed to Heliopolis, the city of the sun. The S-U-N. Everybody, no matter how old you are, will have a son, an S-U-N. It's in your solar plexus. All you need to do is rise it up with inside yourself, and then that power and wisdom of that Christos. It tells you again in the Bible, no one sees the Father except through the Son. The Father does not recognize anybody except the Son. The Son is called David, and he will call you Father. The soul of man, the soul of man, the soul on. It's the om chant, and it's on, it's light. It's a soul, like a solar disk. All expressions of exactly the same thing.
Right. Well, I hope everybody has enjoyed what James has had to say. I felt a bit compelled because I just, just this whole thing about it's all allegory.
Well, it's also something we do physically. It's expressed as walking your path. When you physically, as a baby, had that desire that you wanted to see what your siblings and your parents and uncles and aunts and whoever was doing, they're on two legs, they're walking. You want to learn to do that. So you take a step, you fall over the next time you make two steps, but your determination and desire will get you through it. And before you know it, you're not even thinking about putting one leg in front of the other, you're just walking. It becomes second nature because look what the system shows. Repetitive, drumming it in, repeat, repeat, repeat. Well, we have equal power. If you tell yourself, or once you experience it and you feel it inside yourself, you know who you are. You don't need anybody out there to tell you. It's something felt inside. It's an internal experience. And again, the system shows you this. If there's an emergency on a plane, it says put the oxygen mask on yourself first so you can then help somebody else. Otherwise, but you've got to do the inner work first. You cannot radiate out the right energy until you've got yourself sorted out. So it's not selfish to put yourself first in the spiritual sense. It's all our own individual responsibility to take that step to do that. No one can do it for you. And you shouldn't let anybody else write your life story.
Yeah, the other thing we are, James, we're Blade Runners.
Yeah. Every film you can think of, every bit of music will have something in it that is expressing this same message.
One of my favourites is when Arnie goes to Mars and you already know who the baddies are, and as he walks through the door, there they are all over the news. So they were running the place. They were the baddies, and you know they're the baddies.
Was that Total Recall?
Yes, Total Recall.
Oh, there you go. Look at the title. A Total Recall. It's a remembering of who you are.
Yes, it's very strange because he has a wife that pretends that she's his wife because he's lost his memory. But really, he was someone else that went into this program, got his memory wiped, and then he turns up as who he is. But then he starts remembering who he was. But anyway, James.
The creator of this dream or computer program has fallen asleep in the game. The whole object of the game is to awaken that sleeper inside. That means going up to
they had a way of doing it though, don't they? Because I watch a horror movie now, or start to, and I just can't watch it. It's so freaking horrible and frightening. I can't watch it. Just wait, it's going to make you jump like now, and oh my god! And but they've already got that way round us because they've already frightened us massively with the horror movies, and that's probably why people don't take any notice. Hey, there's Freddy, whatever he's on Nightmares. What was that film? Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street. He's out in the street killing everybody. Oh, all right. Maybe that's what it's like now. I don't know.
That just shows how insane this whole world is, because you've got Freddy Krueger, who's basically a child murderer, being put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
It's only a character.
All those are that, though, aren't they? Because wherever it is, they're always murdering young people.
Yeah. So why would you want to sort of put that on a pedestal?
Well, he sold masses of money on franchise, I'm sure. But James, listen, I don't mean to
Yeah.
sound horrible. I've been up at the hospital for hours today, and I'm really tired. But we have been going for a good while, and you've shown,
Yeah.
because obviously it's why I wanted to have this hangout, because you were talking about it being allegory. We've showed that everything doesn't look right. Come on, everybody, please. That man there is not 33. He looks more like 45, 55.
Well, as long as you read the Bible in the right way.
It's a self-help book. I've
Objectively.
got a few of those up there. I'm okay, you're okay. Healing the shame that binds you. Until today. Little light on ascension. Yeah, that's one of them.
It's this reality. It's got everybody looking for a single one when you are all the one. You
Yeah,
are
but
your
if
own
you
saviour.
know who you are, you're not going to say you're a sinner all the time. I mean, we must do little things and odd white lies or whatever it is, but you do everything differently, so these things don't really happen.
It tells you that the name of God forever is I am. Yeah. So, and it also says there is no other. So it can only be individualized, all of you.
Yeah.
I claim and dare to presume and say I am the Son of Man and I and my Father are one. It doesn't make me special, or it's just I've realised who I am, and that's all any of you got to do. You all have this power and ability within you. You come into this world with God-given gifts. Well, what do we come to this world with?
Nothing. Not
Intuition.
materially, anyway. For me, I'm an empath and I'm a psychic. Those are two gifts. Thank you for those. They have been the bane of my life. They've made me very sensitive to other people's. That's what it's done to me.
Well, if you think of it in terms of like the five senses, they work on very limited ranges. If you start expanding those ranges, well, you're going to be picking up a hell of a lot more frequencies. So you're going to be feeling a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, that's what happens if you want to put it that way. You know, like, yeah. That's why I'm not so good. I don't think I'm that good sometimes in a relationship, because say someone's just having a bad 20 minutes, I'm going to pick up on it and I'm going to feel it like it's me. And I know it's not me. I don't like all that. But, I mean, that's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? But I notice these things.
We have a way of addressing that. You can talk to your partner and say, look, is it me or...
I just mean, for a relationship, I'm very sensitive, that's all. Lots of people might not even notice it. They might not even notice it, but I am. There's not much I don't see. I like you, James. There's not much I don't see and hear at all. I hear and see it all, even if I'm talking.
We're encouraged to take everything personally, and yet it's all about leading an impersonal life. And it's all about openness and honesty. So if you're in a relationship, you just need to be honest and say, look, I need about 20 minutes time out to myself. I need to process something. And it also reassures the other person that isn't them.
Yeah. I'm saying generally. I'm not talking about Mickey, by the way. I'm just saying generally. That's what's happened to me.
No, I meant generally. I mean,
good. They were doing it generally.
The marriage is on the rocks, so you go and pay someone thousands and thousands of pounds to sit there and say, well, you two need to talk. So why pay someone thousands of pounds when you could just talk anyway and resolve the issue? Because we can
everything is about money in this world.
Yeah, it's when we don't speak out. Like if another person is doing something you find really irritating, one, you need to think, why do I find that irritating? And also say to them, look, would you mind not doing that? That's really affecting me, and just explain it without getting into an argument.
Well, I've even worked out sometimes people are arguing, if they're watching television all day, that's probably causing it, and they don't even realise the television's helped them argue, because of what they're watching.
Well, the easy way to sort that one out...
Turn the telly off, I know, but I'm just saying.
instructions for a computer are called a program. Program. So it's pro, and then G, and RAM. Now, when it's a television program, it adds ME on the end. So what is it programming?
Me.
Yeah. They tell you. They put it right there, but they tell you but don't tell you. It's like there was something the other day.
See, when you wake up, you realise these things. But obviously, the people that come to Sun and Moon are quite awake people anyway, and will understand all that. But, you know, it's maybe some people are watching this video and think, well, it's preposterous, I don't understand. Well, no, we've just tried to explain it all. James, we've got to finish.
Yeah.
There's never an ending with you, is there?
No, I go on forever. I'm eternal. Which
you are, James. You are an eternal voice. And what would we do without you?
Well, you'd find your mind.
Anyway, I've lived with you for a bit. So, yeah, James is okay. He's a good man.
This is a realm of duality, right? It's a mixture of truth and lies. It's also what's said and what's not said. So a very familiar saying in recent years has been, trust the science. That's half of the sentence. The full sentence, I can give you the rest of it. Trust the science to not tell you the truth.
Whoops, I've just flipped.
That's what it's written. But, of course, one half of it is written on the white part, the yin, and the other part is written in the same colour ink on the black bit, so it doesn't show up. So that's why they only say, trust the science. Trust the seance more.
Yeah. James, I really appreciate you coming on and doing this hangout, because obviously you came because I asked you, because this whole bit about, I hate it because in your body that Bible's not right, and then it actually says it. So
your gut feeling, it's your intuition, it's your God-given gift.
But that doesn't mean that some of those things we're not, and as friends we're spiritual and care about each other and are acting out everything, even though this book isn't right and is missing so many books anyway. But it doesn't mean that we're not doing some of those things.
It's missing a lot of books because what you've got is a peer-reviewed paper, same as science.
Yeah, and it's been affected by them, and they've touched things and changed people's names, and once you start doing all that, it's like CGIing in it, isn't it?
Council of Nicaea is basically like peer-reviewing papers, deciding what's acceptable, what's not, exactly the same as they do with science. If you review my paper and give me a good thing, I'll do the same for your one. That's all science is. It's a general consensus of scientists. They're all in agreement. But one that speaks out with something radically different, if the rest don't agree with it, oh dear.
Anyway.
And that's exactly what they want.
James, we've got to stop now.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I love chatting with you. I'm just a bit tired today. But, I love what you say. Hopefully everybody else does. And you shocked my mind a little bit. I've got to do some thinking now about this shroud. And
don't take what I say. Your best guide is that gut feeling. If whatever it is in this world, if something doesn't feel right, listen to what that is. Your Christ consciousness talking to you. It's telling you something's not right. No matter what the external world shows, which go in through the eyes of the deceiver, the two eyes in this physical realm. It's not the spiritual eye, the mind's eye. That's your best guide, your gut feeling every time.
Hey, can I say something else as well that's missing from this? If Jesus was crucified and had his heart ripped out and was nailed, why isn't there any marks on here, like his hands? His hands don't show nails.
I believe there's holes on the Is it on? Because it's through both angles, one nail. I can't even remember now. But there's like blood or staining on that shroud, and it's like no. I mean, a dead body doesn't pump blood out.
No, but there still would be blood on them, wouldn't there?
Yeah, but the way the blood has spread on that cloth, it does. It's not consistent with the story anyway. And once the heart has stopped pulsing, the blood won't come out. Once the heart stops, so how did that blood spill out? So something don't add up with any of that.
Right, well, we're going to end on that note, James, of just more confusion, because it's just so everything's so confusing. That's what annoys me so much. But
well, it's a realm of duality. It's all part of this amazing maze to weave through, but just do like the yin and yang, move like the serpents. We're vessels, so you navigate your way through it. You are the captain of your vessel.
his hands look placed funny as well. But anyway, thank you for everything you said, James, and and all the insight and everything. And hopefully everybody finds it interesting. And what does everybody think? Do you think he looks like a 33-year-old man, or do you think he looks older? Do you think that could be Enoch, someone else? Is he wearing like? Okay, he's supposed to be wrapped in something, isn't he? But is he wearing a suit of armour?
Does look very knight-like, doesn't it?
He
very
does. James.
And very knowing eye.
Yeah. James.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. We're going to go now. I'm not getting rid of James, so don't go, James. But I am quite tired. But Mickey and I went out and around the hospital today, so we did a few things. And I've got a video of that to upload. But thank you very much, James. Big hugs. And thank you for all your insight. And hopefully it touches someone else.
Love to. Yeah, love to you. Love to the chat room.
Thank you so much, James.
Welcome.